Just 15 minutes for a workout? That sounds way too short, right? But what if just 15 minutes per day could transform your physique? In this video, I'm breaking down and I'm ranking the top 5 workout methods designed to get you lean in just 15 minutes per day from some of YouTube's finest fitness pros. So you can get lean without the gym bro routine. First up, we've got Sal and Adam from Mind Pump talking about their MAPS 15 protocol. So Sal, can just 15 minutes transform your body?
Generally speaking, when your total volume is equated for, then it doesn't matter if you do, let's say, 2 1-hour workouts a week or 15 minutes every day.
And this is the real secret. The research actually shows that breaking up your training volume however you like is hands down the best approach for busy working people. Training volume is simply just the sets, the reps, and the weight. So whether you decide to hit 7 sets per muscle group in 2 1-hour longer training sessions, or 2 sets per muscle group in 7 shorter 15-minute training sessions, you're getting the same results because training volume is the same. And this means your workouts can be as short or as long as you need them to be. And this is exactly how I approach workouts with my clients too. But here's where Mind Pump and we split paths.
Where the 15-minute workout is superior is that person who practiced chest once for the week gets practiced the bench press 1 time that week.
Yeah.
The person does 15 minutes and they do the same amount of sets, but now it's spread out over Monday, Wednesday, Friday, now gets to practice bench press 3 times.
Okay, let's really break this down. If you're practicing bench pressing 3 times per week in 15-minute blocks, you are not going to be doing much else. Between warm-up sets, racking and unracking the plates, and rest periods, you're spending half your workout's time for the week just bench pressing. And the same goes for barbell squats and barbell deadlifts. Amazing movements? Absolutely. But splitting these across multiple 15-minute sessions, it leaves you with barely enough time for the real benefits of the 15-minute workouts. Your total workout volume for the week will just not be enough to have an effect. Basically, you cannot just take a traditional gym session and chop it up into 15-minute blocks. It just doesn't translate well in practice. But this is where intensity techniques are game changers. For example, the data actually shows there is no difference in muscle growth between bench press and push-ups. If the intensity is equated, then you get the same muscle growth in chest, front delts, and triceps. So as long as the muscles are taken close to muscular failure, the body does not care what the external stimulator is. Barbell, dumbbell, or body weight, it doesn't matter. So with that in mind, you can bench press on one day, but on other days, we need to get your total volume up. So we do something like a neuro amplifier set with plyo push-ups, and then we move to knuckle push-ups to form failure. Because after fully activating your type 2 muscle fibers with an explosive movement, we then completely exhaust them with a controlled movement taken to form failure. 15 minutes of this and your chest, shoulders, and triceps are blasted. And if you want an actual plan to implement workout challenges like this, I've got you covered. Just grab my free do-it-yourself program linked down below. 60 ways in 60 days to get lean without the gym bro routine. Now, 15-minute workouts that break down your total weekly volume into smaller chunks can be awesome. But to be effective, they need to include enough weekly volume. And this is where Mind Pump, they fall short. And that's why traditional gym sessions split into 15-minute chunks, they land in the C tier. It's a good starting point, but it lacks the total effective volume needed for continued results. Alright, next up we've got Oliver. And he's bringing us 15-minute HIIT workouts. Let's dive in. Okay, maybe it's just a warm-up, a little playful intro. Alright, now I'm thinking maybe he's trolling us a bit here. Alright, some people might say don't hate. There's a specific audience for this. But no, this is the kind of stuff that wrecks people. First off, there's no way you're burning 300 calories in 15 minutes with this. And second, that is not the point of a workout. You're heading down a dark and lonesome road if you're just focusing on calorie burn to lose weight. Yes, it will work, but guess what? It'll work in the exact opposite way that you want it to. Not only will you end up losing muscle just as a smaller version of yourself with the same belly fat and the same body fat percentage, but here's the worst part. Hyperphagia, the nightmare scenario. Basically, as you lose weight with HIIT, you lose muscle, and your body freaks out thinking, we just starved and we just lost our most valuable asset, lean mass. And this triggers these intense hunger signals. And these hunger signals, they are not the ones you can just brush off. Hyperphagia is the kind of hunger that keeps you up at night. It makes you binge watch those cooking shows in the evening, and it has you fixated on food like it's your part-time job. Plus, if you're in a state of hyperphagia, you need to be extra careful because your body is now primed for fat storage and not muscle building. So a calorie surplus when you finish finish your diet, it is not going towards muscle gains no matter how lean you are. Even if you're rocking single-digit body fat, you're still going to store fat over muscle because here's the reality. 1 pound of muscle, it only stores a fraction of the energy of 1 pound of fat. Your body wants that fat. 1 pound of stored fat is 3,500 calories sitting there for later. The last thing your body wants to do is actually build 1 pound of metabolically active tissue that demands calories. Look, anyone that can do Oliver's cross jacks, they can lift a dumbbell. So I am not buying that this is an entry-level workout for people just getting started. You can do better. Oliver, your 50-minute HIIT workouts, they're going into the F tier, no doubt. Now we've got a true legend in the fitness space, Mike Mentzer. His high-intensity training workouts are making a resurgence, and they're all about cutting out the fluff and going to absolute failure. And here's a throwback of Mike training Boyer Co. And Mike says,
Okay, on to the 10-degree chest machine. Enough of this levity. This is serious business here. 130 pounds, aiming for 10 repetitions, but by the looks of things, you may get 15, 20, 30, God knows.
Pretty interesting, right? Mike does not care at all about some arbitrary rep number, because that's not the point. He's all about pushing to failure, which is why Mike says aim for 10, but he acknowledges that this guy might hit 30. And the result?
Good. I counted 15.
This is a perfect example of Mike's method. A method that people like this are adapting into 15-minute workouts. And why does this work for people? Well, I remember being in the gym with clients, and if I ever made the mistake of giving them a specific rep number, they just hit that rep number and then stop every single time. And it wasn't like they were playing me or trying to get out of doing the work. It's just how our brains work. It's a psychological phenomenon called the goal gradient effect. Basically, the brain just perceives the goal as the finish line. And when you hit the finish line, even if you can physically do more, you don't even realize it. So Mike's idea here, it's all about hitting true muscular failure. And once you hit it, you're done with that muscle. But there's a big red flag with Mike's protocol. Even Mike's top student, Dorian Yates, who's obviously an absolute beast, ended up with a torn bicep, a torn tricep, messed up hips, and a long list of injuries. Pushing to failure like Mike does, it's no joke. And that's why some of Mike Mentzer's protocols had people training as little as 1 set per body part per week, giving them 7 days of recovery before hitting the same muscle group again. Except, here's the problem. We know now that muscle protein synthesis, or MPS, is only elevated for a short period of time after training. So right after training, MPS shoots up, and it lasts for about 48 hours in beginner trainees. But for people regularly working out, the MPS response is more rapid and returns to baseline within 24 hours. So unless you're on a boatload of steroids, keeping your MPS artificially elevated, following Mike's super low volume advice leaves a lot of progress on the table for us natural guys. After 24 to 48 hours, your muscles just simply aren't growing like those guys on steroids, which is why you hear all over the fitness industry to train each muscle group at least 2 times per week. Mike's principle of pushing to failure for guaranteed change, combined with actually balancing intensity and volume, it's got some absolute gold in it, and you will see changes. But unless you're on a ton of steroids, his exact protocol is just not going to maximize your progress. So for that reason, this lands in the B tier. And if you're new here, my name is Tim. I'm a food scientist and personal trainer, now based in Austin, Texas. I specialize in helping guys hit 10% body fat without letting fitness take over their life. So subscribe for more, or if you're interested in one-to-one coaching from me, go to my website. Next up, we've got Steven, aka Serious Runner, and all his workout time dedicated to cardio.
I'm terrified of lifting weights. Muscle is dense, and that extra weight will just slow me down.
So he is all in on cardio with zero focus on strength training. And when he finally hit his weight loss goal, what happened?
To be honest, one time I did reach my arbitrary and unhealthy race weight goal, and I gave myself a stress fracture.
This myth that strength training is just for bodybuilders still hangs around. And even when people say, I won't do a bodybuilder routine, but I'll do HIIT workouts like Oliver, they're just doing more cardio in disguise. People assume they don't need to lift weights, but everyone, including elderly people, need to lift weights to stay resilient. Focusing purely on cardio to lose weight, it is the worst. You're left with skin and bone and no signal to preserve muscle. Plus, hello shin splints, runner's knee and stress fractures like Steven. A 2021 meta-analysis actually showed that 50% of runners get seriously injured every single year. That is half. But don't get me wrong, I love running, it's great for you. Just don't go all black and white and ignore strength training. Think of it more like macronutrients. We all know that you need a minimum amount of protein to preserve muscle, right? Same with proper weight training, it's a non-negotiable. Skip your weekly minimum and you will lose muscle. And it's not just about aesthetics, lose muscle and less glycogen storage so you have to eat less. Lower metabolic rate so you burn less calories. And decreased insulin sensitivity leading to more more fat gain. And that's not even touching on the bone density, strength, mobility, and joint health. Pure 15 minutes cardio only workouts, no question, F tier for your physique and health. And now it's my turn. Here's my take on 15-minute workouts with my anti-gym bro tactic that I use with all my clients. We've already covered the basics, minimum effective volume at 6 to 10 sets per muscle group per week, and proximity to muscular failure, truly finishing within 1 to 2 reps of muscular failure. But what's missing? You've got to find a way to progressively overload your muscles within this short 15-minute block. Whilst adding more weight is the simplest method, it quickly leads to plateaus, especially if you're not in full gym bro mode, spending 6 hours a week in the gym. So this is where we use advanced techniques in challenge-based workouts. Here's a quick example of a micro workout challenge. First, set a 15-minute timer and starts with Neuro Amplifier isometric towel rolls, followed by constant tension bent over rolls to form failure. This combination maximally stimulates your pulling muscles as you try and move an immovable object, and then maximally fatigue your pulling muscles with constant tension as we hit a muscular endurance focus. Then pre-fatigue your biceps with concentration curls before getting them involved in supinated rolls with the help of your back. And finally, finish strong with cheat laterals and pause shrugs for your traps. The cheat reps allow you to push beyond failure, and the pauses exhaust every last bit of energy in your traps. The goal? Focus on perfect form and complete as many rounds as possible in 15 minutes. And you track your rounds, your weights, and your total reps. And once you can increase your reps by 20%, you increase the weights by 5%. I'm biased because I use these with all my clients, so they're S tier for me. Now tell me where you'd rank them. And for more coaching tips, watch my video here.